So here's the deal. Hold on, So here's the deal. I filmed a video for you guys on Friday. I was filming an apartment gym workout because my last video, I know, was very fun for me. I was able to like check out a gym that is really nice, really into like heavy lifting, which is something I'm very passionate about. However, $85 a month. Is that affordable for everybody? Is that doable for everybody? Absolutely not. And a huge goal from me and my channel is to make fitness something accessible to everybody and prove to you guys that it is accessible to everybody and that everybody can do it. So I was like, cool, this week I'm gonna film this video. Listen, there was 2 people in there because it's an apartment gym, you know, it's not as busy. And for some reason, filming in front of 2 people in a smaller space instead of filming in front of like 15 people like I've done before at my gym was so much more awkward. And also there was 0 music playing. So theoretically great for filming because there's no background noise, whatever, but oh my God, it was so awkward. And one of them didn't even have headphones. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, like, despite my best efforts to overcome and not be awkward, I was awkward. So we're gonna use as much footage from that as we can, but I thought I would try and salvage the video and do like a little bit of a voiceover slash like explanatory moment here. Use that as B-roll and still get to give you guys this video. So let's get into it. So the first thing I did was a little bit of an incline walk on a treadmill. So my big goal for this video was obviously doing an apartment gym workout, making it accessible to people, blah, blah, blah. But I have been through a couple different apartments in my adult life and have seen different apartment gyms have very different equipment depending on how expensive your place is, what area you live in, blah, blah, blah. So I wanted to try and utilize only the equipment that I think would be in almost every apartment gym. We did treadmill and dumbbells. That's it, that's all I used. So yeah, started with a 5-minute walk on the treadmill. I just did a little bit of an incline. I think I did 12 incline and a 3 speed, kind of like that like viral 12-3-30 workout, but for 5 minutes instead of 30. And I did a little bit of dynamic stretching. So not static stretching, make sure you're moving through the stretch because it's really good to warm everything up before a workout. Static stretching has been proven to not really do as well in warming up the muscles, warming up the joints, stuff like that. So make sure you're doing movement-based stretches. And then we got into some goblet squats. So I started with a 20, just to kind of get everything moving. And then I went to a 25 and then I would have gone to a 30, but my apartment gym doesn't have 30s. So we went right up to a 35 and that still felt like I could go heavier, so I went to a 40. I love goblet squats because they're a great full body movement. I would say I feel goblet squats almost as much in my core as I do in my quads because you're holding the weight out in front of you and as you go down, you're having to stabilize that weight from pulling you forward. Yeah, definitely burns. A big thing I try to do when I am working with lighter weights is to make these movements more of a full body encompassing movement so that I'm really getting more of the intense workout I would be getting if I was at my regular gym that has like all the weights and equipment that I would like to use. Another way I made this exercise a little bit more intense was I did 1.5 squats. So if you haven't heard of that, you go down all the way, just like squatting like regular, you come up halfway and then squat back down and then back all the way up. And what this essentially does is lengthens the most muscularly challenging part of the movement.
That's it. Dude, I lift heavy. Like you guys thought I lift heavy and doing it like this makes it hard. It's definitely just a totally different type of workout. It's more like muscular endurance rather than just like pure muscle output and strength. But it's good to train for both, especially doing jujitsu. Like muscular endurance is super important.
So yeah, I did 4 sets of this guy. I just did a little bit of warm up with the 20s and then I believe I did 10 reps with 25, 10 reps with 35, and then 2 sets of 10 reps with the 40s. Because we're using lighter weights in this workout than I would normally use at my regular gym, I cater these exercises to be more of a muscular endurance workout rather than just a pure like how much muscular output can I achieve. So like powerlifting, for example, or like very heavy bodybuilding style training is usually like taking yourself 1 to 2 reps from failure. But when you're doing more muscular endurance things, a lot of times what stops you from performing another rep is not that you physically cannot do another rep, it's just that you have so much lactic acid built up, which is that burn feeling. So this is definitely a different type of workout than you would be doing if you're working with heavier weights, but it's still a great workout for your body. You're still getting in some great activity. And if you're newer to lifting, you will 1000% build muscle from doing this workout. And the second exercise is going to be an Arnold press, which if you don't know what that is, you're gonna take the weight, it's gonna be in front of you like this, and then you rotate as you press up, and then it comes back down. It presses up in a little bit of a different motion than your regular overhead press would, as well as challenging your shoulders unilaterally. So instead of, using both arms at once to do a shoulder press with, say, like a bar, like you guys have seen me do in many videos, you're doing one shoulder at a time, which is really great for working on any imbalances you may have, which for me, on both my upper body and lower body, my left side is weaker, so doing things unilaterally is a big priority for me to work into my training. So I started this exercise with a 20, and after the first set realized I was not going heavier than that. That's a good weight for me.
20 first, and I just kind of like pin my hand behind so that I really am not engaging this side. And while you're doing this, you really want to focus on not like leaning up like that, you want to keep it a level frame.
I also love doing exercises like this because it really strengthens the muscles around your shoulder joint, which is so important. I think a lot of people will sometimes associate weight training with easy injury, and that like, oh, if you're not careful, like you'll injure yourself, which is definitely true if you're using improper form and overdoing it to the point that your form is breaking down and things like that. You can definitely injure yourself. However, the flip side of that coin is strengthening the muscles around your joint is what helps keep that joint healthy and helps keep that joint moving properly. And so that's why I really prioritize full range of motion and trying to get multiple planes of motion in my workouts, because it is keeping your joints healthy and helping them be stronger so that injury is even less likely. Okay, now we're going into RDLs, which if you don't know what that stands for, it stands for Romanian deadlift. Now you guys see me do deadlifts a lot, but I think this is the first time I've done an RDL with you. And the difference is just going to be that your legs are going to be a little bit straighter than a regular deadlift. You're still not gonna lock out your knees. They're just gonna be slightly straighter, just enough of a bend to give you a little bit of bounce. And there are 2 huge form tips for this that I have heard from other YouTubers that have really helped me, so I'm gonna share them with you guys today. I first heard this one from Squat University, but I think he was quoting a different creator, which I don't know who that is, so I can't give original credit, but if you guys look up Squat University, I'm sure you might be able to find this person. But essentially, you take a foam roller if you have that. I didn't have this because I'm in an apartment gym and they're not as equipped. But if you do have this or something like it and you can do this, it could be helpful for you to kind of practice proper form. He took a foam roller and kept it in between his forearm and his calf as he kind of went down through the motion and then came back up. And it's a really good cue to teach you how to hinge your hips rather than just like bend straight down and utilize your back to do the movement. That hinge in your hips really is important to be able to activate your glutes and your hamstring, which is where this movement should be coming from. The other tip that I got is from a YouTuber, Lift with Sarah. I love her content, so shout out to her. She said this cue she heard from a friend and that it just really helped her, and so I wanted to share it with you. Basically, the cue is to think of giving your butthole some air. And while that might sound a little bit graphic or a little bit ridiculous, it really does help because it helps you think of that like hip abduction, glute abduction movement, and it just allows you to really activate those muscles and pull from the correct spot and not pull from your lower back. So I did these, I believe, with 40s, and I just stuck with 40s the whole time. Lastly, we are going to do unsupported bent over rows. So a lot of people, when you're doing bent over rows with a dumbbell, so a unilateral movement, they'll like lean the other hand on a bench and bend over that way. But again, circling back to the first exercise, I'm trying to make these exercises as full body and as engaging as possible. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to lean over, kind of do a split stance. And we're going to go ahead and you can either brace that hand on your knee if it helps you, or you could do like I'm doing and bind it behind your back and just focus on the movement coming from your back. So think of pinching a pencil in between the 2 shoulder blades behind you. and you're just gonna take turns doing either arm. This definitely burns my legs when I do this because the leg is holding you up, keeping you bent over, and you're just staying like that the entire time you're performing the exercise. So while your back is actually the muscle that you're contracting, just this stance alone definitely makes it a great workout for your legs and your core as well. So yeah, I went ahead and did 3 sets of 10 reps on either side with these, taking breaks after I had completed 10 of either side. And yeah, that is the end of the workout today. So just like with all my other full body workouts, I like to do 2 lower body exercises, 2 upper body exercises, 1 push, 1 pull of each, just so that I'm challenging all different ways that my body can move. And yeah, this was a great workout for me, even though I was using lighter weights than I would normally use because I changed the movements a little bit to be a little bit more engaging. And like I said in the beginning, if you're new to lifting, what an apartment gym has to offer you will be more than enough to gain muscle. Even if you're advanced in lifting, there are so many ways to make exercises a little bit more difficult without having to use more weight. So whatever you have available to you, you can make it work. And I just wanted to show you guys that with this video. When I first started working out, I did not go to any sort of gym for I think 1 to 2 years when I first started because I didn't have access to it, didn't have the money for it. So I would either just work out in my room in high school or I would work out in my parents' garage where they had a little bit heavier weights. But yeah, just starting in my room with dumbbells and just being consistent with that made a huge difference and really made me fall in love with being active and wanting to move my body and feeling like I was getting stronger. And so I want you guys to be able to get the same thing regardless of where you are at monetarily or regardless if you have the time to drive to a gym. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. I will see you guys next week. I think next week we're gonna do something more on the nutrition / food side of things. Subscribe and like the video if this was helpful for you. I will see you guys next week, Wednesday at 1 p.m. just like always, and bye.